All right, everybody, let's do a sound check. Can y'all hear me? Stangam here.
Um,
What's up, John? Wanted to do a just a quick recap of the week. Just going over Asia. We're going to start with Asia. So we're going to just go over the basics, what we were looking at, what we were expecting, and what happened for the Asia session all week. Okay. Um, just to kind of give everybody a heads up, the plan is to try to do as much streaming live as possible for the first month before we start scaling back to your individual plans, because I want to try to get everybody up to speed on the basic lingo and what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. The main goal is for you guys to get funded. That's the main goal. The second goal is for you to get a payout and to keep that account. So if you follow the instructions, you follow what we're doing, you'll be able to do that. But it all starts with the process, and that's what I was trying to explain on Friday. A lot of things happened on Friday. We had a few blow up. We had a few didn't understand. Uh, we've had a few that had a horrible day Friday. So want to be able to, it all starts with the process, because I do the same thing every day, every night. I do the same setup. Like I said, I don't use the scripts, so to speak. I still draw everything out because I want to be able to do it without the script. I want to be able to see the play before the reversal script says it's a reversal. Um, and it don't happen overnight, guys. I mean, it literally takes screen time, because you can look at these charts all you want on hindsight and it looks perfect. You'll be like, well, how did I not see it? Because it doesn't look that way live. The right side of the chart has not printed yet. So with the methodology that I have, it takes away bias. Like I always said, you have three choices at clock and two of them are wrong. There's only one correct answer. So if you start seeing it, and it's just going to take time. It's going to take time for you to trust it. So, I've told many in here, you pretty much got to forget everything that you've learned, because this is so different that you literally have to forget everything you learned and you have to trust it. But it all starts with the process of how to set up the chart. So that's mainly what we're going to do today. We're going to show the setup of the chart for Asia, and we're going to back test for the week. This is how we back test. I'm also showing you how to back test. So not only am I showing you how to set up the chart, we're going to show you how to back test. And this is how we back test. The Stangam Elites, this is how we back test. So this is how you should be reviewing your charts on a weekly basis. All right. So at that point, has anybody got any questions or anything at this point before we get into it? Just type Y or N in the chat, and we'll go. All right. All right, John, take it over.
all right, Dobbs. Welcome everybody. So all we're trying to do is just start, like Dobbs said, a little recap of the week, see what really happened, and then understanding of what is how we traded, um, what led us to price action, and what the direction was. Because mainly all we're really doing is going with direction. We're not influencing the movement of this. We're just trying to catch the movement of it, whether it's the whole movement or whatever your whole plan is, whatever your target is for the day. Um, Up or down, we trade it, so it doesn't matter what direction it's headed. Right now, it's still on an upward trend, um, but it's at a high that was very risky to really start pounding it. As the week started, um, let's start from Monday, I guess, and into the Sunday era. If you look at like last week's price action, we literally were trying to get to the top side, and we didn't really see any London close ranges to the bottom side at all. We barely swept down to the 151 area all of last week, but we did sweep the high side of 151 and came right back down to lows. Going into Sunday, um, we had a reversal of it. So the trend broke to the upside, where we literally had a movement that was going to go see highs, because there's other reasons for 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 the reversal to the top side that I kind of discussed this week early on this week about why they were doing it, but that's besides the point. All we're going to do is just set up from Monday's range into the whole week. Um, so we could literally start with Friday, saying that our range was literally we set up our boxes really, and then we set up our for Asia market. So let's just start with that, I guess. Right, Dobbs?
Yeah.
Let me see. Let's get rid of these boxes. And I don't know why this thing went on. Okay. This is 10 days. It's been a while since we've done this.
Yeah. You might want to go to the 15-minute though. We do it on the 15-minute chart.
Yeah, I don't know why that switched like that. There we go. I was like, why is that so wrong? Okay, let's start with last Monday actually here, and how we were set up for this bad boy. Here we go. So we're on the 15-minute chart. This is Monday's price action. This is when it broke up to the top side from the previous week. And then, like, as you see, we returned down to the highs. But on Monday, we're going to take Friday's range.
Hang on before you start. Go back to the chart just a little bit to the left. All right. Everybody see this right here? The chart's telling you we're at the low side.
Yeah.
We're holding.
And there's 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. What we expect? We expect the big boom. So that's what we were looking at before we were even going into Sunday. Okay.
This line I have up here is the 200 moving average. If you go out more, this is a daily moving average. So this is a different kind of moving average that you might have on your toss. But this is basically the same moving average that's been hitting its head all year round on. And it's been hitting its head realistically every quarter. So if I go out like let's go out 180 days. When the market started breaking to the bottom side, it's been literally hitting the 200 and failing, 200 and failing. But if you go by dates of this, it's special times around these times at these highs that it fails. All right, let's just go back to what the setup is for the week, I guess, for what we looked at this week, beginning this week. Go 10 days. All right, so we broke above this week right here. We were holding the lows, and then we took Friday's range, right, which is literally the 11:30 candle. Where are we at?
John's on Eastern, so he's doing Eastern time.
So we do 11:30, 13. What is it? 1500.
14.
14.
Well, yeah, you're 1500.
1500. And it's the high, so it's going to be possibly up here. Wait, did I go past the day? No. No, I did. Hold on. I did go past the day. The range was really small right here on this day right there. I don't think we went past that, did we? Not. So all we really do is, this is our range looking into the next day. What we do from there, what I do is, because I don't really trade Asia like that. I do dabble in it once in a while. I don't like staying up. There's somebody asking questions. So that is the low to high between time correct weight.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So what we do with this box, saying that you're setting up for the next day and you're not trading Asia, we're gonna get into Asia, but we're gonna set up like if we were looking to trade into the next day, because this is literally what you could do at night and set up. You could literally take that range, right? Duplicate that box, and then this way, when you get into these boxes, you know what range you're playing in. See, and as it goes up, you're gonna see that your target's gonna hit. And then all we do is keep on doing boxes. We've seen with a tight range like this, it could go up 3 or 4, but realistically, it'll go up like 2 on a regular day because the range is very small. When it's a bigger range, it could go, and that's how you know you're gonna get a big move. But on a day like this, you usually get this. And as you see it, as let's just point out a couple of things that happen here. So we're going to point out the fact that this is momentum going into, we're going into Asia into midnight. So as soon as midnight comes, which is right, well, it's not midnight. This will be your midnight right here. Midnight will come in here, right? Then you'll be running into Monday. Then we had a pullback right to these highs over here. And then as soon as New York opened, they continue with the play upward. Now, what you want to look at is look at what London did. If you're playing the morning, you're looking at what London did. Did London buy it? Are we holding the highs? Yeah, so they held the highs on these days. And what New York did was continue to trend upward, and we got to target. What you don't want to do is just be biased in this and say that, oh, we're going to hit the highs and it's going to fail again, because that's not what the trend is doing, especially since we broke the trend to the top side. More likely you're looking for this move up. And you can also, this is the Stingham line right here, which Dobbs uses, and you could use it as well. I don't know if you have it available for them. But realistically, this is a good play up. Now, the sell-off of this is something different. Because when it sold off, it literally just sold off to the same area that they started the week at. So say that we broke down to the bottom side of this, which we didn't last week. So, last week we just kept holding the lows. So the fact that we came down to the bottom side, they just bought it right back up. So they took profit and bought it back up.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. Here's a low. Here's a high. This is half back.
That's what we're going to get to. So it's literally a dip bot for them. And realistically, what they're doing at these highs is that they're pop. It should come down realistically, but what they're doing is they're popping it up so they take profit on the drops. It's basically the same thing they did on Friday. They literally dropped it, they popped it up, and then they dropped it, and then they picked it back up just to take profit.
So they set range, they pull back to half back, and what do? They duplicate this range right here.
And if you're looking at it like this big drop, like when they have these big drops, and I said this before, when we have like, and it's not really that big of a drop. What's going on is that the market's really like it's swinging back and forth. They're calling it like a kangaroo market, but realistically, they're dropping it just to bring it back up. If I go on a bigger time frame, like if I go on a 4-hour, and we go that day, all they did was go back to these highs and break out from them realistically. And then they came back to visit them, and they held them. So they're literally just holding the market up when it should come down. But realistically, they're holding it up for a reason. Let's go back to that 15 minutes. Okay. Hold on. Let's go back to. And then when you have like a target like this, when you see like the 200, like you see the 200 literally up here, they're not going to go up there instantly. They're not. They're going to do something like this. But this is the direction that they set. So if you know that direction is set, they're more likely going to go up to that 200. It's just when they get close, the quickest way to get here is down. That's how they treat it. The quickest way to get 200 is down. So, and that's how they got all the way up there. like that. Anyway, so the range was set on Monday, and then they dropped it, and then saying that you're going into. I know we are going to do Asia, but let's just do the whole week, and then we'll go back to playing Asia and how to set up for it. So in the next day, what you want to do is you want to set up the same way, and you saw that London's close was at the high. They had bought it down here, right? So you already know that London's buying, and then they sold when on their close. So you just do the box from London's close. So let's do 15. Yeah. So we do this candle all the way down, too far down. Way to go.
Be the high and low between London close and your 1500.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And the majority of the work that you have to do is set this up. If you don't set this up daily, if you don't set this up, you're better off not even trading it until you set this off. Because there'll be times that you're looking at this to sell this, and you're at the lows of London's close range, and this thing will bounce back up. So you don't want to be in that scenario. Unless we're like already breaking the low range and we're already like on the second box and it's literally coming down like but you're more likely to wait to you don't want to be selling down here. You want to get pulled back up and then roll over. Because if I mean the same scenario just happened on Friday that it was literally like we'll get to that, but you'll see it, watch. But you just literally duplicate this again, and then you gotta fix your fibs up again off of this box just to see where the halfback is at. And literally you get down to the bottom range of this.
Boom.
Right. So it's literally hits the range, and then it literally turned around. So the fact that it held down here, this is the problem with this sell here. Like if you were selling here and you ain't have your setup, this will eat you alive. So you would want to wait for a pullback, maybe a pullback up, a rejection, and then a rollover. Because if you're selling down here thinking that this is going to continue, you get this, and and possibly, some bad habits are hard break. Some people will add to this, thinking that it's going to come down. No, all this is telling you no, we're going the opposite direction. The way that you could tell that is that once it holds here, and we get past this level right here, and we start holding here, forget it. This thing's taking off. And even if you did like, there's the only thing. The only thing on this 15-minute chart that there's nothing on here that tells you to sell this. So it popped up, right? Came back down. If it were broke these lows, cool. This is a sell. But the fact that it did this and then started holding right here, it's holding half back of these 15-minute candles. This is very dangerous. And now we're above the staying in line. So your mindset has to be quick to reverse and say, hey, if we're not going down, we're going up. And then once you get above here and you're like, okay, we're now above the London close range, what's the possibility that we could go up to halfback? So we'll go back to halfback of London close, and that's your play. Now, all this right here, this is a whole different story. This literally takes off to the next day. So, when you're trading this for the close of the day, look, we do hit into the close, we get close to it. But you're gonna be in direction of this play instead of trying to short it down to I don't know where, but
right. But the range is up.
The range starts going up as soon as we get above this level right here.
So you got a low, you got a high, and this is halfback.
Yep.
Where we go up here.
Right, and that's into the next day. So some of these ranges carry on from one day to another, but you always want to set up, like I said, you always want to set up. If you set up the proper way, the next day you're gonna see exactly what they're doing, and then you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. So next
another thing before you do anything right there. So when we felt a halfback, This is the halfback of this range right here. So when we fell a halfback, we're expecting to go to area 51. That's what we're expecting. That's what should happen. When it fails a 50, it should go to a 50.
Yeah.
So
So if it holds a 50, it's probably going up to a 50, and it did that exactly right.
right.
And the fact that it gets above 50, if I put the fibs the other way, if I put the fibs the other way, guess where it went? It went up to 50. So the ranges carry on, but it all depends on how you're trading. You know what I mean? You
Yep.
know,
And I also want to use the term, y'all heard me put in there, we're back inside the range, or we're back inside green range, or we're back inside London close. This is London close range right here. What happened right here? We got back inside of it. We
oh,
come back to the bottom of it and retested it. It held.
and
So if
that's
it
big.
holds, where are we going? If we're holding 0, where are we going? We're going to 100. Did we get there? Sure, we did.
And that's into the next day. So and the problem with that is that you have to put it from day to day, and but you could leave it from week. The thing is that your charts are going to get filled with this stuff. So I tend to delete them and start over every day.
Yep.
Even though it's repetitive, it's
I'll leave my boxes, but the three main boxes I'll leave, but I'll take
yeah,
all the fibs off, and I only do the fibs for the day of trading for that night. I start at night and set it all up.
yeah. So you can literally just start doing the boxes. I leave the boxes on sometimes, and I take them off probably like 2 or 3 days later. Um, because after 3 days, it's literally a reset. After three days is usually a reset of it. That you're gonna see we went above the highs, or we're still in the same range, which is the same thing that I did last week. So last week you will have all these boxes here, right? But we never got above. We kept hitting the top range all week long, and then we came back down to low range probably this day. And the rest of the week we couldn't get past London's close range on the bottom. Um, and then this day we just broke through the top, so you can literally see it. Like it literally broke through the top, and it just broke out. And we came back to the highs of them, held, and then literally did this big move. Um, is it really a big move? It's not, but all we're doing is riding the trend of it's not even the average of it that is moving. It's just it's it's moving enough that's still good to play.
And just remember, you're only looking for till you learn these plays. It's 5 to 10 points. It's
Yeah.
5 to 10 points.
Once
You're
you get
only
to that,
trading a micro. You only start with a micro. There's no sense of trading ES and NQ right out of the gate. Makes no sense.
because what you're gonna deal with is you're gonna deal with taking the trade when you have to and letting it go to targets like that. And then the second thing that you have to do once you get past all that and then you're in a funded account, you have to learn how to risk manage because you're gonna be like, well, I can make $1,000 a day. I can make $700 a day. And the risk factor in that starts playing a part in it. So if you could find your medium where you're like, oh, okay, I'm happy with making $300 or $400 a day, and just keep on doing that and be consistent with it, it's not really that hard. The hardest part is finding yourself not to be greedy and not to extend yourself and to to exit plays when you're wrong. Like sometimes you start chasing, sometimes you're taking a bad play. You know when you're taking a bad play. Off back, you're like, I shouldn't be taking this play right now. I should just wait. And that's what we're trying to like get to, like to the point that we make people wait. You hear me all the time. Wait for the pullback. Wait. We already did a breakout. Now a breakout will be like we took out a high. Like in this case right here, where this reverse, we took out these highs. So you have to wait. There's only like from in a day, there's only like 14 plays. About 14 plays is what we averaged it out to. About 14 plays, up and down, right? But within those plays, if you divide it by the time that there is to play with, like the time frame to play to trade, um, it depends on what you're trading. If you're trading at 24 hours, like whatever it trades, like 22, 23 hours it trades in, um, then you can possibly get 14 plays. But if you're trading only New York, there's only like 4 plays in New York, 4 or 5 plays. I only catch like 3 or 4 plays a day, and that's if that. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you get busy, you look away, and you miss a play, and then you gotta wait. I always say, wait. This is possibly is gonna happen. This is what's gonna occur. You just gotta wait for it, and then wait for the pullbacks. There is no rush to get in. If it leaves without you, then it left. Wait for the next play. It's gonna be another play. It's just you have to be present at the time of the play. And Dobbs says it all the time. Wait on the time. Wait on the time. Wait on the time. Um, there's key time frames that you could actually take plays in. There's the six the 6 a.m. reversal, which we like clockwork. It works. A pullback to the 6 a.m. halfback. We have a 10 a.m. reversal. We have or 10 a.m. Buy up. We also have the 2 p.m., which is 1 p.m. Eastern. I mean, it's 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. Um, and then we have the end of the day that it literally moves. But there's times that is going to occur. So those times is where you want to be patient about it and wait for that to show. Even London's close is always a play. And if there isn't, you take a scratch, or you analyze what it's doing. Is it at the highs? Is it at the lows? What can they possibly be doing? I think this week at the lows, like right here, this is literally London's close right here. This is London's close, and they took it up. So if you took London's close on a pullback to halfback here on a 15 minute, you got this. And if you set up for this, you literally got it. But look, this is one play into the close. And then this was one play downward. And you could possibly get, like right here, we literally stood at the lows. This was the close of the previous day. This was Asia selling down. And then, well, not really. This was Asia selling right here. Asia just continued to sell off. And then going into midnight, they reversed it. And then going into London's open, they sold it. They sold it right back into London's close too. That's another thing that we kind of say that they always want to go home, and that's literally where it went. It went back to London's close. So London took profit, and then they bought it back at the same price that they had ran it up on, and then they took it up again. So seeing those key things, you kind of realize that you're like, oh, they aren't selling, they're buying this up, and they're keeping it up at the highs. So they keep doing the same thing, the same scenario. They keep buying it and selling it, buying it and selling it. Until they want to sell it, it's not going to occur. It's not going to just tank. So you have to go with what the trend is doing or what they're doing. And this helps you set up for that. All right, let's go to the next day. Let's get rid of this. It's basically a setup that we're teaching right now. We're showing you, and if there's any questions about the setup, just ask. Because that's crucial for you to set up. So when you're choosing to trade at your time or whenever you have an opportunity to trade, you see how to set up and where to take the play and where it's headed. So let's see, let's do Tuesday because I think we did this range and then popped up. Yeah. Let's do this range close. So we're gonna take the 11:30. So we'll take this low. And it only takes a little bit to set up. You don't have to, once you start doing this, it's going to be like really, really, really simple for you to set up.
And you should be able to do this on any platform. I know we use Thinkorswim, but you can, I mean, everybody's got the same drawing tools. There's no excuse why you can't draw these out by hand. TradingView has it, Ninja has it, everybody's got it. So there's no excuse.
And remember, sometimes you don't want to, you don't have to take this all the way to target. You don't have to take it all the way to I'm gonna take it all the way to the highest. Take it to what your target is for the day. You know what I mean? Like make it that, oh, this is where I'm out. This is the play. This is my risk factor. This is where I took the play, and do it every day. That's really what it is. Just do it every day. Now, like if you're taking this play here from midnight, if that's your time frame, and you're looking like, oh, look, we're holding the highs right here. Right here, we're gonna take this long boom right there. Maybe it wasn't that much, and you're like, okay, I'm very satisfied with that play. But look at the chart and don't think of, because sometimes people think like, this, on Friday, a lot of people were asking me, were saying that, oh, people will be shorting these highs. I was like, yeah, a lot of people will be shorting these highs. And it just kept on going up. It actually hit the London close range on the highs. So why just short it when it's going in that direction? Now I'm not saying to take those highs because I'm cautious with those highs, but you could take a mini, learn your lesson, and be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be trading this at these highs. But realistically, Friday was just a payday all the way up to 14 or 16. After it broke to the top side of London's close range, it never looked back again. Every pullback, they kept buying. They just kept buying the lows, kept buying the lows, kept buying the lows. We never broke a 50-minute low. We never broke a 30-minute low. So it just kept going. And I said this on Friday and the other day too, that it took literally 3 hours for it to get to the lows, but it only took like an hour to get to the highs. No, it took from 5 to 9, I think. It went from 5 to 9, 4 hours it took to get to the lows, right? And then literally in 1 hour, it went all the way back to the highs. So once it does that, it's not trading going on anymore. It's literally the algos are going to keep on going in the direction that they're sending it. So it's just going to continue to go in that direction until they change, the direction of it. If the big order comes in or they start smashing it. But realistically, we have a target that we want to see up there, which we'll eventually be talking about it before the 30th. We still have time. We just don't want people to be biased on this continuation of trend. And it's not going to continue much. It's literally going to dangle where it's at right now. It's going to whip back and forth for a couple of days. All right. So we set up the range, right? And we had already gone past like a lot. Into midnight, it reset it back to this range right here. And then we continue with the boxes. Continue with the boxes.
So what happened? Our main range, London close range high held, came back inside and held. Once it holds, you're looking for low, high, halfback. Sweet.
And then it just continues. So even though the boxes are here, this is just targets. This isn't where it's supposed to be trading. It's just targets that it's going to head to. And then you keep on adding on them. And you eventually see that we get near the top. But we also have to take into consideration that they were taking it to 200. And once it got up here, it got kind of, it didn't really give up any real estate realistically. Like it literally shot above and then it reset itself. Because of the 200, we hit the range, but this is going into the next day. And these report days, you have to, you can't trade this. You can't trade these reports. You literally have to reset yourself and be like, okay, let's see what it's doing.
Cannot stress that enough. Y'all got to be out before news. On news day, you got to be out.
Are bad.
Account buster. It's nothing but an account buster.
And they're getting very slick with it because now, like we were on the phone. I think we called each other, and I was like, "Yo, dog, they did that before the report even came out. So now they're getting like very slick with it that they're literally, some people try to run it up into 8:30 to the dot. Now they're selling it like a minute or a minute before.
Yeah, they sold early again. This is another clue. Another clue. Manipulation. They let the cat out of the bag early. They didn't wait till 7:30.
Yeah. So for them to do that, it's kind of like they're starting to get wise. And we said it's gonna whip back and forth, and it did just that. And it usually does it with these reports. So you want to wait until after the report, and then after the report, you see that okay, and let's set up for that day, and we'll see it. So that'll be this day we're going from Tuesday to Wednesday. So Tuesday to Wednesday, you had your play up into 4 o'clock. Realistically, look, this literally went to 4 o'clock. Like this is 4 o'clock.
Bouncing off a Stingham line like clockwork.
Yeah.
1, 2, what happens in 3? Boom, you get the power.
And teaching what we have. If you're looking at this, and I'm looking at this on the 15 minutes, let's see all the plays that are in here. Just waiting on the 15 minutes. Okay, so it pulls up. Am I buying these highs? No, I'm waiting for it to pull back. Where's it pull back to? This 15-minute candle that started it all. Realistically, this area where it says reversal.
which is halfback,
Half back of this candle really
low, high,
held,
halfback.
held right here and it went up. So you don't want you if you're buying this, say that you're buying this on pullback like right here. I don't see any halfback right here. Maybe this halfback got you right here. That you're like, okay, let's look for a breakout, and then it comes down here. Can you sustain this? Possibly. I mean, if you're long here and it breaks down here, then yeah, you got to get out. Um, but if you're taking a minute here, you're not hurting much. This is only like 5 points, maybe 7 points back, pull back. Yeah, about 7 points pull back. And this wick price came up really, really fast. So if you're looking at we still hold staying line, you're like, oh, I'm okay. But that
Yeah, your buys on the line. Your buys on the line on the uptrend because you got the
yeah,
low, high. You should be expecting it right there. You should already be expecting it, and you should be
yeah,
expecting the
but
sweep.
if you're buying here on this candle that try to hold halfback right here to see if it breaks out and it does this, you literally got to look at this and be like, well, if it breaks here, I'm out of this play. You know what I mean? Like if you're looking for momentum, keep on going. But I'll tell you what, if you even bought here and you get out near the highs of this, you're still good. Or you wait for it because it came right back to this halfback right here. And it still held, and it held the staying line here. So this is still buy area. Hasn't broken down, and now we're holding right here when it pops back above. We're holding staying. We're holding high, low, high, halfback right here. So that's another halfback you just held. So this is another play to go long. Um, Now you could go on a smaller time frame and see this, but the other thing that we're trying to teach is the 30-minute candles that once we pop above a high, we keep on making highs like we took out this high. That'll be a different thing. Let's just do the range right now so you guys can set up. Um, so let's go next day and then we'll set up the next day range because that's more like trading theory, how you want to trade it. So let's do the 11:30 box again. Going into now we're going from Wednesday into Thursday, and Thursday was the big report day here. So we'll see what it does right here. And I think there was like that day was like the decision making day to see what they were gonna do with it. So the range got very, very tight. There we go. You see how small the ranges got as it got to these highs? That's another thing you want to be mindful of. Sometimes I look at those ranges, like look how small that box is. All right, let's change the color of the box so you can see compared to the other ones. Yeah, that's a tiny box compared to all these other boxes. But that's because we're going into a report and they already have it at the highs. I hope it will stay with the color. Yep, still with the color. Well, again, even if you're like, oh, I'm not going to trade this report, I'm just gonna watch and see it because that some days you could do it. Some days you could just be like, I'm not gonna trade a report date. But more likely they're still running it in. They're still running into the highs. And as you see, that's all they kept doing. They kept running into the highs into the report. They ran it up, ran it up, ran it up into the highs. So if I duplicate this box again, where they run it to the highs, it was a small range, but they were still running out into the report. And then they sold and they went right back to the bottom of the range. And then they went right back to the top. So when you're looking at this and it's doing all this and it's holding down here and we're holding half back and then we're above this range again, you better believe we're going to go see this range again. Especially since this is the key right here. If we didn't break down from here and we're not closing below here and we're not doing something where we did where we do something like we drop down, right? Come back up, reject here, and then make our way down here. This literally went all the way to this high came down and literally did this. So the possibility of this, and I thought, on that day, I was like, oh, we could go see 24. And the reason you could go see 24 is because we were above 96. So I was like, yo, we could see 24. This is like they're looking to run this up still. Anyway, so let's go next day. So even this day, you still have a range that it played with, and they literally played this whole range back again, back to the highs. Um, and this was London's close right here as well. So London's close. I think more than less, if you bought London's close, at least if you bought it 5 times a week, London's close, um, you possibly got you possibly were green probably like 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 days we were probably green for the last possibly 2 weeks. And that kind of tells you something that they're not selling it. The only day that they really sold London's close was here at the high. Every other day, like London's close was literally London's close bought up. London's close right here bought up. London's close bought up. London's close down here bought up.
Starting to see the theme.
Yeah, so I think down here was on. Look, London's close right here. If you just bought London's close, I mean, it went against you some, but man, look at this move up into the close. Like really, London's close was right here. I guess this day possibly you sell. So you one, is the 1 out of 5 right here. That if you bought London's close, you were better off at the end of the day than any other day. And then up here, forget it. London's close 1, 2, 3. There's London's close right here. Maybe about 5 right here. You bought it. You literally won on London's close. This is literally last week. Last week you bought London's close. Where's London's close over here? London's close right here. You bought London's close. The week you were green. So that's what we kind of teach, but you have to implement everything else to it. So that way, all you have to do is work on your entries and work on targets and work on your goals. Because a lot of traders will do, I'm gonna take a whole bunch of contracts. I'm gonna buy a whole bunch of shares. And yeah, you get a good return, but if you ain't get the play down, you ain't do anything. You really ain't do anything. All you did was gamble. Because as soon as it goes against you, your risk is really what counts. But if you do this with a mini and you do it for a week, do it for a month, I'm telling you, for like a year, do it for a year. You'll be in a PA account. You'll be getting paid. And that's where we want everybody to move to. So you have to tear yourself apart, Dob said earlier, from what you've learned before. Because everything that somebody tells you, and you could test everything that we say, and I always say that. I say you have to test everything. You have to go back and do this work yourself. We say it all the time, do the homework yourself, because that's going to build your confidence to take these trades. Because you have to break away from the shell that somebody created around you, thinking that trading is a certain way, and it's not. The market doesn't care about your order. The market doesn't care where it's at. And we know that because like the S&P's PE ratio, I think last year me and Dobbs had a meeting about this. The PE ratio, which is the percentage of earnings on return, is 187, right? And for the price of the S&P and the E-mini, where it should be at is 3,600. But we're not at 3,600. So realistically, they don't care where the price is at. They care how they're going to make money off of it. And that's what you should care about. So if you fight those demons and you literally, you start taking these plays and start hitting targets and start getting that confidence up, then you could start increasing shares. You can start increasing contracts. You could start getting to that point where you're doing it every day. And it gets boring. It's very boring. But at the end of the day, you're going to start looking at your PA account, be like, yo, I must finally take that, that payment out. And it's going to be a long road, And for some it'll be shorter because some have been doing it forever. But you know, you're gonna get there and you're gonna be like, wow, like this is doable. This is actually doable. And then you're gonna see that this works. If you keep on doing it, you go back test it a year, back test it 2 years, do the London close, do where when London starts selling at the highs where it returns to. They literally do the same thing over and over and over again. You've been doing this for a long time. It's been doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it's not just this market. If you go to NQ, you do NQ. NQ is a different beast, so I don't suggest that you trade that because you can't fight your demons about contracts and taking the plays for your goals and your targets. Then there's no point in trading NQ until you get efficient enough to be doing it every day and being like, okay, I made this, I made this. There's days that it'll whip back and forth and you're like, all right, I lost, but you didn't lose that much. Or you could recover. You're like, oh, I was in the wrong play, or something happened. Because something's always gonna news is gonna come out and it's gonna affect it. It's gonna come down like a rocket. You're gonna get out and be like, okay, I lost. But you're not gonna start being like, oh, I'm mad, I'm mad, I'm mad. That's those are demons that you gotta fight. All right, let's move on to the next day. So we did this day. This day I already had set up, so I'm gonna delete it. And then we'll just go back and do that day, going into that day. This is the report day right here. And then a lot of people look at these charts and be like, "Oh, something happened here." But we put out and we say it from the beginning of the week. There's a report on Thursday. It's going to be important. Be mindful. And I say it as this report is coming out. I'm like, "Yo, 8:30. Do not be in this thing. 8:30. I'm not in it. I can't tell you what to do, but I can advise you that this is gonna. I say it's gonna whip back and forth, crazy, and it did just that. So take it for what it is. That we're trying to teach you something that it does just so you can be mindful not to be in a trade because this literally whipped down like I think last CPA report it went up 140 points and then came right back down. So this is literally the same scenario that is it's doing. All right, so let's do the next day. We'll move into those ranges. And what you could do is that you don't say that you're trading and you have those set targets. I think Dobbs on his videos shows you. He's like, yo, just put the highs and put the lows and set them where we're trading. So if you're trading whatever time frame you're trading, if we're holding above here, you're looking for a long to the highs. If we start failing, rejecting and failing this range, then we're looking for a down play. If you're doing a 50% right here and it's failing here, this is 50%. You see me doing all that time on 30 minutes. It's the same scenario, it's just wider. And then what you want to do is trade it from what time frame you're at. So if you did this, then you understand that boom, But when you start crowding your charts with a lot of stuff, it's gonna get confusing to take trades because you're gonna say, oh, what's that line? And it happens to me too, because I put a lot of things on the chart to explain to you guys that I don't like doing. I just like having the ranges. And my charts are simple. I don't even use the reversal script because you could tell when they start reversing. Now, don't get me wrong, this reversal script is really, really good. Because it'll help you see this. Like I can see it right here. Let's look. This is the first time that we failed the halfback right here. Now, if you go on, we held the halfback, right? Right here, we didn't really test the halfback, but you can say that, yeah, we're below a halfback, right? And it came down. Held the halfback, came back up, came down, came up. This is times we're failing a halfback. Right there. And the reversal script came in. And now we're looking for fails halfback. So you're looking at this candle right here, and it's pulling back to that halfback of this candle, which is literally the high-low halfback there right here. Which, if it was going higher, yeah, and then you could do, Dobbs already knew this was a sell for on going into Friday. We were up looking at this, and we said, well, they're selling the highs. It could possibly go 14, but it's more likely to fail halfback. Even if you took fail halfback, Didn't hold, failed halfback, came down, boom. Guess what it did? It came right back to the same halfback. I failed. High, low, halfback. High, hit the low, failed halfback. Swept the lows, came back up, failed halfback. And look where the reversals came in. So now let's look at when these reversals do come in and why. So you could be like, no, like I told you here, here's where you're rejecting the first halfback right here. This is the first halfback that gets rejected, right? And then you come here and start filling this halfback of this candle. And we swept the lows and came down to the lows. Held here, and that reversal comes in because right here you start holding this halfback of this candle. And then it popped back up. But look what starts happening around here. We start filling this halfback right here. A halfback that we went above, this high got swept, came down, and then we start filling halfback here. And then if you look at the whole scenario, down, high, low, halfback, and we're filling halfback. Where here, we did low, high, halfback, and then we're filling halfback. And now we're at the lows, come back up and test halfback. Now you gotta say, hey, high, low, halfback. We're filling again. You think, oh, we're gonna take out the lows now. That's exactly what it did here. So if you're looking at this tank coming down, right? If you're looking at this coming down and you're staring at this, and you start seeing that we hit the lows, but then we did this candle right here at the lows, and we're rejecting the halfback. And then what we're doing here, we're rejecting the halfback. So this is if you looking at this on a 15-minute or small time frame, it's all the same thing. But if you're looking at this like this, you gotta start thinking, this is like a couple hours here. This is like an hour or two. Like literally came down here at maybe 8:45, 9 Eastern, and it went into midnight here. So you're looking at least, and you're gonna have to start looking at times that is doing this. That it's literally dangling at the highs. This went for an hour up, and then it's about an hour and a half or 2 hours up. It did 2 hours up, and then came down for 4 hours, held here, and then right here we went back up. It took us the same amount of time, and now we're taking out the lows of 4 hours. So this is literally an hour and a half. This is like 2 hours at the lows, right? And then we popped up, and now we're taking a 4 hour low right here. And if you go into the bigger time frame, you start seeing it. Now that's gonna take a while to get into your mind about times because they make it go slow to the point that you see it. And if I switch to a 4 hour, all we did was produce a green candle, right, to go sweep a high of a red candle. Let's go to 4 hours and see. Just for to clarify that right there. And look what we did. We went, swept the high of this candle, failed, and now we're taking out the lows. Exactly what I said. We took out the lows of this candle and popped down. Now the issue with that is that they went, and you see how we traded within this 4 hour? We needed to go sweep this low. Swept here, right? We should have gone back up to this high. The fact that high, low, halfback is literally what we teach. High, low, halfback, and we're failing halfback right here. And now we're taking out the low, this halfback, and then we took out this low. So they literally gave it up. And the reason that this, if you look at the range that it was producing on the day, it literally hit the range down here at these lows. And all they did was what I said is that I think they're going to go back up to this high because of other things that we teach, but that's something that's more in depth. All we're trying to do is tell you people like how to trade and how to set up. The rest of this will come with time. The rest of the time, and we had this discussion the night before, me and Dobbs, about where it was going. In fact, this chart was done the night before, I think, where it was headed. And me and Dobbs discussed it, that we have a target up here, a range that's probably going to go to. And I put it on the morning of this drop. I said, well, this could possibly come back up here. This is from that day. I haven't deleted it, but I'm not going to delete this high right here. It's very important. After it trades above it, I'll start deleting this. But I'm not gonna delete this price right here. That price is important to me. And I said it before on the thing that is important. I don't need that no more. And this is important as well. So I'll leave that on the chart. And that's on the chart I posted up as well. Um, let's go back to what happened in the 15 minutes. And let's do the range of it too, because it's important what happened on Friday, so you can understand also what happened off the ranges. So it's not just, oh, you have to set up like this. If you just set up regularly, you're gonna see what happened. So let's go back into the prior day, right? And we're gonna set up the range for the day. We're gonna remove this stuff. You don't want to be biased in your trading. You don't want to be biased. So you don't want to be like, oh, this thing's tanking down. Not at all. Like you gotta wait for them to sell it. All right, so let's do a range on going after the report date, which, here we kind of held the highs and then we sold down. Um, and if you look at where we went into this box, right? But we never broke below it. That's another thing that we have to look at. So if you look at all the London closes, right? We're not breaking below these London closes. We're not breaking below these London closes. The only London close we broke here was this day. But it returned back to that high, saying that they took profit, they bought it back up, they got it back up here, and then created a double top. Guess what? That's not coming down. Um, and we're not biased because of what it did. Like even on this day, like when it's coming up here to this high, we're not going to say, oh, this is a short. No, this isn't a short. We're going with the trend because there's nothing telling you on this chart that's a short. In fact, if you zoom in and you go on a 15-minute, we made a high and we held half back here. Where are we going? We're going to make possibly another high. And continue until we hit the 200 that day. Basically, that's where they wanted. The fact that they got close to it, the quickest way to get there, they took profit just in case they didn't want to sell completely up here. So all they did was take profit here before they got to their target. So they take profit, boom, 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 buy back up, and then do the same scenario to take it up here. And then what they do, they start taking profit. They took profit at 200. They took profit at 200. And then they're literally, it's gonna be here for a while going back and forth. But let's go back to the range because I lose track of things and then I start going other places and I'll put you to sleep. I put Dobbs to sleep a couple times, so let's do the range going into going from Thursday to Friday. And that Thursday to Friday, everybody's thinking, oh, they're gonna take profit. And if you really think of what they did, they already took profit into this. So they kind of set it up for people to think, oh, it's going to continue to the trend down. And what it does, it flips around, and then you find yourself in trouble saying like, well, why is it doing this? And people will literally, I mean, even me when I started trading like that, like I would be like, oh, it's a short, it's coming down, it has to come down, it has to go all the way down to these lows, it has to go all the way down there. No, it doesn't have to. And that's what this range helps you with. The fact that, okay, so they're not doing this, did this, because it literally did, it literally did 100% of the move back up of what it did. So what we're going to do is continue with our range. And we got right down here to the range of this.
Down there and stayed inside the box. So if it stayed inside the box at 0, it's going back to 100. Where'd it go? Halfback. First range.
And I'll say that there's other things that we use to see that this is going to occur. But say that you're trading this, right? And you see that we start going above these halfbacks. Like say that, because I don't want to confuse you guys, but say that you see how all these halfbacks were being rejected right here on 15. Say that we start holding a halfback. That means that for one, to challenge a halfback, this is probably going to go up to the highs. We're listed. It's more on a bigger time frame that you want to see this though. When it's a reversal. So when it's a reversal, we never hit the halfback of this candle. Once we went above it and we started holding a halfback, this is probably your best bet to start saying that this is going to continue to move up. And it's not at the open. You see, it's a 9:30 candle. This is a 10 a.m. candle, and that's why we say that those time frames are very key. Because what could literally happen is that if we didn't see this halfback, right? If we didn't trade above that halfback or didn't see it or hit it, if we didn't see hit that halfback and we did this and flip down here, this was gonna sell off all day. This will sell off all day. If we didn't see this halfback going into this open, this will sell off all day. Now, say that we saw a halfback, we will probably produce one candle, come down, fail the halfback, and sweep high, sweep low all day. But the fact that it went up and came back, it's the way they sold it. Realistically, they don't want to sell it. And all we did was go right back into this range. So until we start failing these London close ranges like this, like on this day, even though this day we were below it, this is the same scenario as this day up here. They sold the high, took profit into Friday, and then they bought it right back up. And maybe you're not trading here. Maybe you're waiting up here. You're like, well, let's see if it gets above this box, which it literally got above this box right here on this candle. So after it gets above this box, right, you're A, looking for this high, or you're looking for this halfback. And realistically, look how it goes. It goes up, comes up, and hits the halfback, pulls back. Does that mean shorted? No, it doesn't. Why?
So where you at clock? Right here, where you at clock.
And what is it right here? What's right here? London's close. What has London's close been doing? If it's one out of, like if you're looking at this as a 1 out of 5 is a winner and London's close, what you should be waiting to see if you get a long play. Now, here goes some keys for this.
Which it does. London, I mean, the Stingham line gives you confirmation.
And there's a lot of things happening here. We held halfback of this candle, right? Say that you didn't get this play here because you're like, I don't know if they're going to sell it. Look at here. Halfback hells. After this halfback hells, we're taking out a high. Once we take out this high, this is just going to continue. This, and I said this might not pull back until we go all the way to 14 or 15, and then never did. Now, after this, I was done. I was done when it hit 14 or 15. Like, I didn't care. But look where it does hit. And look where it does pull back from. Hard. London's top close range. So what we want to do is keep it. So let's say we're setting up for the next day, and then we'll set up for Asia here. So it's nothing on the chart. And then you can see it as it plays out. I can't remove that, Dobbs. You gotta remove it. Okay, so we're gonna set up for tonight into Monday. So we got the 11:30 on a no, the 15th. And always look at that because I do that as well. And I'll tell you what, on plays that I've messed up is 100% of the time is because I didn't set up right. I'm here like, oh yeah, we're tanking, and it's literally like going to lows and holding a London's closed bottom range, and then I got to flip it around, and now you got to play catch up. Why? Because you ain't set up, and that's the worst thing, not to set up. And I tell Dobbs, I'm like, yo, sometimes you get lazy and don't set up, and then you look at the chart and you're like, I could see it, but heck, I know there's something wrong with it, and it's literally that. It's that you didn't set up. The setup is key. It could be off a little bit, not 100% all the time with these. I'll tell you what, like sometimes I was taking this long. I'll tell you when I was taking this long. I was taking long on this halfback, I think, around here when London closed. And I just took to the highs of these candles. I think it was 97 because it was the 4 hour to take it back, or the 1 hour to take it back to the highs. But everything worked out, and the fact that say that you're okay, you don't want to trade the 30-minute, you don't want to trade anything else. Let's look at this. This is a 15-minute, and then we'll drop down to a 5-minute, and we could look at some. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to see. And then look, we're holding halfbacks. Another thing that you have to look at is the fact that this high, You got this high candle, and you see me point these on the chart all the time. High, low, right? High, low, right? Start holding the lows, right? Then look, we start holding half back. Same thing here. If
And
we
you
were
got, I'm gonna stop you. And you got all my wick count. I only need 4 wicks. I get 4 wicks. I'm going long. You got 5.
and it's just it's a weight, it's a weight for it. We start trading below this candle, then you're saying, oh, we're coming down here. And if you start, a candle here, you're literally no, that's not good play. It's not going up no more. And then if you're down here, you're literally closing both Stengel line. But realistically, the day was up, and the play was up, and the play was up for a reason. You could literally look at I kept saying, look at the 4 hour. Look what they're doing. They're taking it right back to the highs. I say, oh, they're taking it back to the highs. We were above the range. Everything was saying. And I think somebody even pointed out on the chat. They were like, oh, we just gotta. We're rejecting right here. We were rejecting halfback of the London close range, and I deleted it, but we were literally rejecting the halfback right here. So is it a sell? Not really, because what did we really do? We went right back to London's close right here. So even if you looked at it, once we went to London's close and they started popping above these highs, this thing was going to take off. This thing could just keep running. So it's hard to say that, hey, this drop is going to continue to, we're going to continue to sell off. This literally happened, from the lows. It was literally 9 o'clock right here, and it took it all the way back up. Within an hour, we were here. Within like the rest of the day, we took out the highs of this, which is outrageous because this took from 5:30 up here where it started saying short to literally 9. So that's 4 hours down, and we came back up. That's outrageous. They were just taking profit. London took profit, and New York brought it back up. All right, so let's continue with the range. We got the range set up right here, and we'll do it again, just nonstop. And this will be me setting up for tomorrow, which is a holiday. So, they tend to do things on holidays. That's very, or they could just have it dangling back and forth. But regardless, you're going to see where it's at. So this will be the setup. Little box there. And then you start adding as it goes up, and then if it starts coming down, you do the opposite. So if we start breaking this low, we start adding the boxes from half back down, and then you see the path of it. I don't suggest to put the boxes because you're gonna have a lot of boxes. If you do the high and low, you're gonna have a lot of boxes. It's only once in a while, maybe during reports, that is gonna flip around and do it. And even on this day, I sold off. This day that it did this reversing. Like I said, it returned back to London's close down here. But you could have sold this all day. Half back failed. Half back of this candle failed. This half back right here, it just kept selling. Right here, we swept the high. This is the only time did we hold the half back. Nope, went right through it. Failed. This is into like midnight right here. Midnight, they've been literally going the opposite direction at midnight. And then London's closed. London's open right here. Let me see. There was really no play here. Like it should have held right here. And if you look at the 15, like it should have wicked, and then we should have gone up. And realistically, all they did was just sell it off. Like there was no. You could do high, low, halfback from this.
All they did was sweep A's low. That's all it did.
High, low, and then as you're filling down here, and it swept the highs it is, like swept it, and then just fell the halfback. So you're looking at, you literally got close to the 151 on the bottom side of that range. But once again, this is going into the open, and I think the Feds was talking this day, and realistically, this is the day the market should have really continued to trend downward, and they literally flipped it back up. So this is literally the day that we went to the highs, they sold at the highs. Right here, we should continue to trend down. and they said no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to get people thinking it's a short and then run it up. And as you see it, London's closed, London's opens over here, and all we did was come over here and start holding, holding London's open, and it's a halfback, and we ran it up. So, all right, let's go back to the range for tonight. So that'll be the setup for it right now. Now going into Asia, this is Dobbs's market right here. All we're gonna do is take now Dobbs. His fibs are a little bit different than mine, but it's all the same. His is 151. I use 150, which is almost the same thing. And then he uses this candle right here, right, Dobbs?
Yeah, my 1445, your 1545.
He uses this candle. This is Eastern time, and his will be Central time. And all he does is, I have all those other levels on there, so, and I don't really use the fibs. I just use it set up. So, and I'll take that off. So we're gonna take that off. We're gonna take all these levels off right now, just so we have our target right there. And then we're gonna do it on the way down as well. So right there, as the day started, we swept underneath the candle, right? I mean, as the day ended, we swept underneath, and then this will be our box, right? Right, Dobbs?
Yep, you're right.
Is it?
So we got high, we got low, and this is gonna be halfback.
That's the problem with the boxes, and I don't usually do the little box of Dobbs. I usually just use the candle, because once you start putting a lot of things on your chart, all right, let's get rid of this fizz right here, and let me move this box. And see what's going on. Right? And then we have the high low, and then we're literally at the bottom of this low right here. So say that we hold here and we break above the box, we're literally going to target number one, which will be right here.
Yep.
Target number two will be up here.
Yep.
And then vice versa. We'll be looking, if we break the bottom of the box, we are looking for target number one, right? And then we're looking for target number two. And let's look where that lays us at. So London's close is all the way down here. Can we possibly go down there? Yes, we can. Can we possibly just continue to go up and try to hit our target? Yes. It all depends on the range and what it does. So all we do is set up and then take the, this was messed up now. What I tend to do is I tend to put, so you don't have so much things on here, which I do have a lot of things on here. Remove some of this stuff. And this is literally, you can literally do this. Like once you get used to doing this, you're literally gonna do this in like 10 minutes, and you're gonna set it up the way that you're gonna be able to see when you're trading. There's nobody else trading except you taking that play. But what I tend to do is I make sure I know where London's hatchback is at, like the first hatchback of that box. And that's gonna dictate to you the trend change. Like right here, this was London's closing range right here, which was up here, the middle of that box. And then that way you could go off your boxes. So if you're here, so let's see where everything sets up here. And I'll tell you, put some lines on here, you start forgetting what they are, and that's a problem. So you try to be the minimum as possible because you're gonna get confused with your own stuff. Um, as of right now, I mean, if we reject right here, we're looking to come down to the lows. Um, it all depends how it opens. We could literally pop up, come back down here, and then go for a ride back up, which is probably the scenario because the momentum's still up. But you gotta wait to see what they do. As of now, though, it's kind of could go both ways here. And like I said, you play the box. You don't guess it. You literally. Now I have my line there. I'm cool. I'm good with the line right there. New lines. That's literally your setup now for Asia. And then the thing with Dobbs is that he's been doing this so long that it's like clockwork for him. So he doesn't hesitate. If you don't trade this and he doesn't hesitate on the play because he sees it consistently every night. So it's every night we break the ball, boom, nonstop. He's just like, well, hell, halfback, let's go, boom, let's go. We're going up to halfback, and that's it. I'm out. Oh, broke down below, boop, going to halfback. I'm out. Let's see, we get a second target. Nope, we didn't get to it. That's it. Play is done. Because it's gonna take to midnight to reset and then come back up, which is literally what it did on this night. This came back up to reset. So if we did, let's do the Asia right here, so you can see as it already happened. And then right now, your setup for tonight, which is literally in 30 minutes, is right here. And then we'll see what range hits. And now I'll take a picture of this and I'll post it in Discord to see the outcome, which is realistically, I feel like it's going to go up to 151. It could continue to go, but the market ain't open, so I can't tell. As of right now, you're literally waiting to see what it does. It could literally wick down and pop back up. But you'll probably go with the momentum play. But
well, for me, since it's already swept low side of the candle, it's probably going to the top side of the candle.
I didn't want to say it like that. That's exactly why I said it's probably gonna wick a little bit and then pop up because I didn't really want to say I wanted them to.
But they normally pull back. They like to pull back. So.
And the worst thing is, the worst thing is that if this gap's down, so the gap's down, and we're looking at a gap here, and we're underneath London's close range down here, and that's another thing. We just hit the London close range right here. But if we gap down, then we're looking for, we're possibly going to come down here, or at least the London's close range, and it could literally come back to the stang line and all that stuff. But remember, after the move is going to come, and then after midnight or Asia's 8 p.m. opens up, we could reverse right back to the highs. So you got to be careful with it.
With it being a holiday, they can do a lot of things. They can run this thing up and be back by Tuesday morning, right back where they are. So they can do a lot of things right here. But the halfback's going to keep you on the right side.
Yeah. So I mean, right now you have a lot of things going for it. We literally wick to the highs of London's close range. We're above the close of this candle. We could wick a little bit. We're above halfback, so the players, if we're holding halfback, we're going to have we're holding the 50%. We're going 151, which is this, which is literally 150, the same area.
But Asia likes to take out highs, so.
So let's do this on something that already happened, that already occurred. So let's see what they did Thursday going into Friday. So setup is here. We're gonna set up off this candle the same way. Which I should just set. Let me set this as default right now. And there's ways to scalp this stuff if you don't have time to trade it that we could teach. That's why I have the other lines there. Like sometimes I'm not able to trade it. And I'll scalp it from, if it holds 50%, I'll scalp it to like the 75%, not the whole 100% move. Depends. Like if you have something going on, you trade it like that, you know. But it has to be a play where it makes sense. You're just not taking a random play and be boom, I'm in. No, you're looking for a halfback hold, sweep. You know, it's inside a candle. We're going to highs of the candle. Well, let me set this default. But that's something else that we teach as well. And that's like a little scalping class that we could possibly do. Um, and it's not the best thing to do, but if you don't have that much time to trade it, you know, you know, some of these plays last forever. If you were buying this halfback here, I mean, you're going to this high. It literally took from 11:30 to 12 to 1, I guess, right here to sweep these highs, and then the rest of the day is literally this is 11:30 until 3 o'clock. In this process, I was driving home around this time. 12:30, I left work, and then I was talking to Dobbs on the phone. I was like, I'll be taking this long if the app was working right, because I think we're headed to take out that 14. We're going to 14 period. And then I did get home and I did trade this a little bit from here around this area right here. I started trading it. I got home around, yeah, I started trading it here for a little bit, just scalping it a little bit. Um, but I wasn't really like, oh, I'm gonna wait on this. It was already Friday. So let's do the Thursday. Friday going to Thursday. Let me stop talking and get to doing it. All right. So let's take the fibs and take the high, low, and then we'll do it the other way as well. All right. There goes a perfect example of and Dobbs does this like manually. Like he sent me a chart today, and literally Dobbs puts in the prices, these lines manually. So he does that every night. That's a lot of dedication, Dobbs. um, and I think we were talking on the phone about this play before it even happened. That we were like, Dobbs was already pounding this thing, and I said, yo, just waiting to, I think it was like Asia Open right here or something. Oh, Asia Open here, and it started just going. So that's the setup for that, and then we're gonna do the, which is the boxes. I'm going to the close. Going too far. Oh no, right here. This one counts. There, right there. Mm-hmm. So as you see it, sweeping the high side right here. We held halfback, so it became kind of, this became dangerous, but we have to break up top of the box and hold this price if we were going to go up here. Same scenario as the way down. But remember we said, you can also see that this high wasn't broken either. So there's a couple scenarios you could trade on this. That A right here was holding, but we didn't break above. Once we broke above, we didn't clear out this high either. But the whole scenario was how we looked at it was on a 4 hour. We were looking at it as this. We didn't go higher. We didn't go higher. We kept sweeping the low. We swept the high of this 4 hour candle prior to this close, right? We swept the high, we swept the low, swept the high, and we closed it at this low. Now we're at halfback, and we started filling that 4 hour halfback. Basically, we're at halfback of this candle, and we couldn't get above it. Now, on the time frame, it looks like it doesn't want to keep on going up. Period. It was trending downward, so you can see that play coming down. like I said, the smaller time frames, you're gonna have to, look at the higher time frames and be like, what are they doing? We should have been above the 4 hour. We were gonna continue to go up, but it looked like they were gonna take a little breather. Um, so maybe you're already kind of not buying, but you're looking at it as, oh, this is probably gonna go through a pullback today, going into tomorrow. And the fact that it pops up here, maybe you're long off this. We held the low, swept the low, held, and now we're above. But once you get below that box again, you're literally saying this is a scratch. And maybe you should have looked at the overall picture. The reversal's in, there's no reversal for long at all. And now you're looking at it as, wait a minute, uh, we got a high and we got a low. And now we're failing. We're not sweeping the high no more. And we're back in the box. Now, maybe you're not selling in a box because we're above half that. But once you get below that box and you see this, then you look at the movement down. You hit the number one target here. Well, actually, you didn't hit number one target on this. This one you held into it. You hit this, hop back up, and then did it again. And then failed down, and you hit all the targets to the downside. But what you didn't do is you ain't go see this high, right? And you ain't break the box. So if you're looking for a sell and this is selling downward and we're down here and going into midnight and you see a reversal, this is profit taking right here. You're taking this profit. You're not looking for these two. You're gonna take profit. Right now you popped above and you start holding the half back on these candles right here. And then start holding these halfbacks. You gotta get out of this play if you're selling down towards the 151 or the 200, and then you wait for it. Now you're doing the same play again, picks you back up. Did we break the box? No. Look at as we get below the box. Held, rejected. Almost the same play as here, and this literally happens pretty quick. This is a 50-minute chart, but I mean, this isn't a buy. Like if we broke above it, we should have got a wick right here to hold. So, we're breaking above it. Maybe you're waiting to confirmation as we hit here and then we pop up and then we do a wick on this candle and then we go up to 151. That didn't happen. What happened was that we went up and look, now we're rejecting this halfback right here. We're rejecting the halfback and we're going into this as a sell. Now we're breaking the lower lows and it literally goes down to the sweeping the low of that candle and holds it. But once you get to this, you're literally saying, oh, I gotta get out of this. It's not gonna keep going down. What it isn't doing, it isn't going up here right now. So even if you're selling on these candles down, you're still winning. But your target is down here. But then it becomes a thing of, am I staying up or is this the time frame I'm trading? And I'm cool with it. But once you start seeing this and a reversal comes in and now we're holding halfbacks, you know that if we held down here, guess possibly where we could go, because this will be literally high, low, halfback over here, and now we're testing the highs again. And that's literally what it did. But now that it failed here and you're selling halfback, now if I remove this, because now A's is done, and if I remove this going into midnight and going into the rest of the market, this will be going to London's, and London's at literally right here. You could literally just take a scenario like this. Okay. This is possibly the only time that I said, hey, we're possibly going long right here, right? To go take out these highs. That doesn't occur to me. And then you got to think of the whole scenario. Look at the box. We're rejecting the top of that box. Is this the same play as Asian? Is this going to continue to the targets that we didn't hit already? So until you clear this box, we're not looking for we're moving. Because why? Because it didn't happen here. What makes you think it's going to happen here? And then the whole scenario, that 4 hours saying that, hey, we're at the lows of it and we're trying to hold, and now we're breaking below the low of that 4 hour here. That's, you know, that's literally what it did. But now that it failed here and you're selling halfbacks, you know that if we held down here, guess possibly where we could go, because this will be going to literally a midnight reversal and we're going right through midnight, that's an issue. Midnight, we reversed into midnight, came back up, and now we're taking the lows of midnight. So now you're looking for a move down. And literally, that's where London closed range comes into effect. That if you take this play down, you had a target down here and you hit. Do you have to ride it to target? No, you have to ride it to your target, to your goal for the day. It does that. That play is done when it's down here. I think Dob said it in the chat. Said this play is done. There's no, we gotta wait and see what it does. And he's 100% correct. And I kept saying, I said, yo, there's probably gonna be a pullback down here for a certain reason. I said, watch. This hit targets too quick. I had a target down here and they hit. I said, well, if we pull back up, I want to see it pull back up, reject, and then come down and hit target. They did not do that. So they ain't hit a halfback. They ain't hit halfbacks. Like they weren't hitting halfbacks on the way down on a 30-minute. They weren't. It was just straight movement. Like if I go on a longer time frame, and that's what you want to see. Look at that. It's just literally straight down. Like I think we tested this halfback and then none, and then that. Once it got above this halfback, I was like, oh, it's a problem. Like we're probably gonna go all the way the hell back up to that 4-hour candle because of the way it was moving. But that's the scenario. So this is almost the same thing right here. We could go up, fail, come back down, hit the lows, and then start hitting targets down, and possibly get back to London's close range, which would be, I gotta really delete these things right here. Which is funny how that ends up being the same halfback as that one. So because we're gonna get a week or so of up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, going into the 30th. So these highs do get a little wicky and a little weird, because of time. It's all about time of the year, time in the month. That's all it is. We're going into the third week of expiration on options. They don't want to pay any options to the downside. They want to make the market look like it's going up and they need calls to the upside in order for them to sell it. And they need the puts to expire. Third week expiration are coming. And then after that, you possibly see a down movement. Now, can we have movements down? Can we have movements down and up? Yes. And this is the first day right here. This is first day down. First day up. Can we possibly continue to do it like this? Yes, we could. So it's gonna get up and down, but that's why the ranges come into effect. That's why the setup is crucial into this month, into the end of this month right now. And they're gonna get you thinking of the opposite direction all the time. They're gonna get you thinking that it's going up, down, all around. And you have to break away from it. And that's why the ranges are so important, that you're going to trade it as what it's doing, not what they want you to think. Because if you trade what they want you to think, you're not going to know where it's headed. Because they'll sell it and they'll buy it right back up. And then people will be selling the lows and this thing will just pop back up. And they're going to do that into the end of the month, I believe. Can it sell off strong? Yeah, news could come in and just trash the whole market. I mean, all these little things. All right, Dow, is there anything else you need to cover? Dow's left me. I'm all alone, guys.
No, that's pretty much it.
So the setup is there. We're gonna see how it plays out. We have our targets. I think I just deleted the top one. And like I said, like a lot of things on your chart are, just don't put that much things on your chart. And then always, setup on this is on the 15-minute, off the 15-minute candle. We're going to see which way it goes. And realistically, you don't have to trade Asia, but Asia is, I'm telling you, I've told Dows plenty of times that Asia is it. Like you're literally going to get in a play in Asia that's going to run all day or it's going to sell all day. And vice versa. And there's no reports coming up. So, like around 8 o'clock, all it's probably gonna do is play it back. But the worst thing that, it's the best thing that I could do is that you got the tippy top of the bottom of it. And that's literally like maybe 4 out of 5 during the week that it does that. You got the top on it on Thursday, going into Friday. You literally got the top of it, and if you took profit, you were good. Um, Going into Asia right here. Let's see. This was Asia's high, pull back. If you bought here, I mean, that's if you didn't take profit into this move up, you know. But with everything we have, you could literally do it. I don't suggest that you just take a trade saying that, hey, we're above London's close and let's go long because it'll go back to London's close. But um, it literally does that often. Like realistically, if it's at London's close and we're below it, um, we're literally going to the downside. If it goes above it, we'll probably continue to move up. That's another thing that's in there. It's just that's very simple, but it's not something to take a play off of. It's literally not something to take a play off of. Like even going into the close of this day right here, it kept moving up. The market just keeps moving up, but into midnight you see it pull back and then they buy back up. So you don't want to be into these highs and then pull back on you, and then you get nervous because it's going to go back to London's close. So that isn't a play, but realistically, we're above London's close. You should be looking for a um, long opportunities. But the setups are there for each market. The setups are there for Asia, which will keep you in line. If they start selling and we go back inside London's close range, we're probably going to go back to London's close, London's halfback right here. Now, can it do that in Asia? Yeah, but can it? You have to play Asia for what it is into midnight, and then London's close range. If we're above this and we're making our way up, is it a short? No, it's not. We're looking for a goal up here. We're looking for targets up here. You go up all the way up to these highs. So, but it's all based on what the chart is telling you at the time. Are we, are we down here? If we're down here, below London's closing high, am I looking for a long here? No, I'm possibly looking for a short range for London's halfback to continue to play down until it tells me otherwise. Um, and that's the setup, guys, for that. There's any other questions right now? Is the time right now to ask them? And if you want me to drop down to a 5 minute or some or 2 minute, 2 minutes are kind of more of a scalping plays. If you want us to cover anything else, let's do a 5 minute. Drop down to a 5 minute, and then you see it on a 5 minute as well. I always say, oh, look at the 5 minute when the 5 minutes start changing direction, and then we can look at this as 5 minutes right here. So let's see, big 5 minute candle, 5 minute candle. What we do here, we reject the halfback. We're right back at halfback of this 5 minute candle, right? The essence of this is rejecting the 5 minute candle right here, swept the low, came above the low, right? Where if we hold the halfback, if we start wicking at these halfbacks, right, and then we get above this halfback, which is literally the range right here, right? If we start going above that range right there, and we hold this halfback, we're more likely going up here to sweep this high. But you can literally take it on a 5 minute, on a 15 minute, whatever time frame you want. Um, this is your box. This is your playing box. Come back down, sweep below again, come back up. But once it breaks, you're going to see that it's going to keep on going that direction as it did the other day. Has it been days that it does stay in this range? Yeah, there has been. But you're going to know that, it's going to break above this. It's going to break the low of the downside of this. And it's literally happens 100% of the time. There's other things that we do have that we do teach. I don't know if Dobbs is covering that or he wants me to cover it, but there's other things that we have that we use on this as well, which is literally, let me just, is a 10 point range. So wherever this literally is going to open, we're going to go 10 points up, 10 points down. That's really a block range. So if we go 10 points down by midnight, we're going to go back up 10 points or faster. Sometimes it's faster. Right now, it's been really, really like sluggish Asian. And we haven't had any moves. Another thing that you got to look at is the volatility has died out this week. The VIX is under 20, is at 18, which is perfect because everything sets up for what we do discuss. The fact that the VIX is under 18 you're gonna get more people taking those call options long, and then you already see people saying that, oh, we're good, the bottom's in, and that's what they want. When they start saying that, Powell the other week said, oh, they don't want the market above 4,100, right? That's where the market is headed. When they say that, that's usually where it's headed. And then when they say, oh yeah, there's a buy, when they're saying there's a buy, it's usually they're selling. So don't believe anything they tell you. And you don't have to believe anything we do. That's why we say do your homework, put it on the chart, trade the time frame that works out for you, and set up the way we teach you, and then tell us that we're doing it wrong. And then we'll just keep proving to you that it's not wrong. And then you make your decision of it. But realistically, all this is battling yourself to get to that point where you're comfortable trading this. And then once you're comfortable trading this, you're gonna be like, I can't believe the market trades like this. I can't believe it's that easy. And Dob says it all the time. He's like, I can't believe it's so easy, because they make it as complicated as possible for you to not know direction. And then we have a setup that just works. It works almost like 99% of the time. The only times it doesn't, that you're gonna see that it's all weird, is when news comes out or when something happens that's sporadic, like a war. Like I think when they announced that war with Russia, the thing just sold off straight to the bottom. But guess what it did? It went right back to the highs. So yeah, it literally returned back to the normal and then just continue what it was doing. So they sold it enough to recover it and then take it back up. And then all that also bases off of PE ratios and all that stuff with S&P, which, like I said, 3,600 is literally our low as of now. But that's projected from earnings, and that's a little bit more complicated. What is the best trade while learning one MES? What is best to trade while learning? What? Yeah, a mini. Take a mini and work on your entries. Work on your entries and work on your target. And keep doing it. Do it for like a couple of days, and then add 2 to it, and then add 3 to it, and then just keep on doing it. But set up for it. The best way to do it is set up for it. So once you set up for it and then you see it occur, it's going to be like clockwork, because it's literally not, we're not showing you something that doesn't work. The thing is that you're going to keep on seeing it work, and then it's got to be convincing to you. You have to convince yourself that this is how it is, because a lot of things that you guys see is the news is going to throw you off, the reports will throw you off. All that stuff is meant for you not to be able to trade this the way it trades. So when you start looking at it and you're like, oh no, this isn't going to do that, and it does it, you're going to be like, damn, it keeps doing it. But the setup works, and all you're doing is fighting yourself to be like, this works. I just have to make it work for myself. And what time is it going to work for me? Like I said, Dobbs could take a play long in Asia, and it goes right into New York, into London's close, and he could short it, and it goes right into London's close. But it's based off like what I trade. I trade New York. Like I trade from 6 to 2, and sometimes at 2 I'm on my phone trying to trade it. Because I'll go with what it's doing. I'm not changing the direction of it. I'm not doing anything but just looking at the chart and saying, well, we're going to this target, and then we're going to hit the target. When I left work on Friday, I came home and I wasn't like, oh, now it's time to short it. No, I was like, no, I'm still going long. I want to get to 8. I want to get to 18. Like I want to get to 14. 14, I was like a little cautious. And I was like, I'll just scalp it all the way up there a little bit, take $3 here, $2 there. Nothing outrageous, because I wasn't dedicated to be there I don't trade that long in the day. Like I'm done. By the time I leave work, I left early work that day, so I was able to trade a little bit when I got home. But when I usually leave work, the market's closing by the time I come in the door. But from the minute I get to work, like 6 a.m., I try to trade it, not into New York. New York, I'm kind of like out of the play. Like even if like I'm looking for a long on Friday, I was out that play until it showed me that New York, like 10 a.m., where New York showed me that, oh, now it's long. And then you could go back and see it, that literally, look right here. And what time was it? It was right here. We're starting to. We're not holding any. For one, right here. This is a 5 minute chart. So we set our move up, right? And I was saying, oh, we trade above the 30 minute. If I move to the 30 minute, let's settle 30 minute. I say we start holding this 30 minute, it's going to be an issue. So let's say we don't trade this, and let's say this. Let's try that 30 minute, right? If we start holding the halfback of that on a lower time frame, let's do halfback of that candle. And let's see when it, and we drop down to the lower time frame. And that's the candle itself right there. So this is high, low, right? And we're sweeping the lows. We held the lows here, right? Or a bigger time frame, right? I mean, a small time frame. Right there, what we doing? This is a higher time frame, right? And this is the thing with these fibs. Like if you put these fibs on there, you're gonna start getting confused. I usually just put the lines there. So let's take for example, we're below the body of the candle. We're above the. This is the high of the candle, right? This is halfback of the whole move, the wicks and everything, right? I usually just do a candle, but the candle's halfback is probably like right here somewhere. If you want to be 100% sure, you take the high, low wicks, high, low, high wicks, right? That's the wicks themselves. And then here, we're holding halfback right here at this price. Look at the time, it's going into 10 o'clock. We're above, is the first time we held a halfback. We did hold this halfback. And you're like, oh, I don't know. The thing is, we took out a high, right? This is our first high we take out here. So we can take out, well, we took out this high. Well, that's about the same high. So we finally took out a high right here. Boom, popped up. And then we started holding, we didn't hold this halfback. We came back down to this halfback. This isn't the candle that took out the halfback, the high, this high right here. But here, now we're holding halfback. So we're holding to make more, a higher price. Then we go up to the highs of that candle, and then we start holding the highs again. So this is halfback held, and now we're coming up to the high. Now we're holding highs of that candle. And it's halfback of this candle. And then you look, does anything here say short besides here where we started going possibly below and the same line? So if you're even on a slower time frame, boom, you get a big move up. Like 72 just got 20 points up. So this is what we're teaching right here. So here, rejected it. You're waiting for. You're waiting. This is at the open. You had a big drop, possibility going back up. They keep doing it. We're still uptrending. Was it a continuation short? No. Now here, if we had a candle that rejected here at halfback and then kept going down, then yeah. But now you got to put everything together. What did we do when we dropped down here? We went to London's closed range, the bottom side, and we held. So we held the low. We could possibly go to the high. And guess what we did? This is the low. This hit its head on the high. This was the high. Now, for you, in order for you to see that, because I know it did that because I had it set up. And I could put it back on there if you want me to, but it literally went back to the high. This was halfback. Somebody said in the chat on Friday, and I was glad they did, because that individual for a while wasn't trading this the right way, and now he's doing it. So when I went back into the chat and I see him doing that, that's where we want to see. We want to see you guys. The success is like, it's not cool to be successful doing it by yourself. When you start seeing everybody else doing it, you're like, wow, like that's when you're going from teaching to becoming like, oh, okay, everybody's getting it. Like, oh, okay, I'm finally reaching out to the people that are struggling with it. And now they're breaking away from their demons and seeing it. And then you're like, wow, like that is what we want. Like that's the biggest accomplishment to actually get to see somebody get to that point when they were like really, they were somewhere else. And then you see that going on and you're like, oh, okay, like this is awesome. This is cool. Because everybody has to be on the same page. So if everybody starts seeing it and you're like, oh, okay, they're all on the same page, like it's growing, it's they're getting it. It's an accomplishment, not just for you guys, but for us, because we spend a lot of time doing this. Um, and like I said, I talked to Dobbs at least 4 or 5 times this weekend from Friday. In fact, we were calling early. I woke him up this morning, and then he called me back, and we were still on the phone. So we do this nonstop. We're like addicted to this. So we've been addicted to this for a while, and we ain't gonna stop. So we aren't gonna stop, and the market ain't gonna stop trading. So we ain't gonna stop. We're never gonna stop doing this. And hopefully we get to where we want to go. That's the biggest thing. Like not that hopefully we're gonna get to where we want to get. It's just a process, and it's not easy. But it's a process to get there. It's literally a process. And I think everybody could get there. And to see people getting there is big. It's really big. And if you lose an account and you lose this and lose that, just fight your demons, get back in it, get on that horse, and keep on riding because you're gonna get it. And once you get it, and if you don't have to trade it, paper trade it. Go back on charts. Go back on charts and set up, practice. Take all them shots, practice. Do sims. Ask the PA account that you have, be like, let me get a sim account and trade it. And then fix your demons and then you'll be successful. Like I don't play past anyone's successful. We have other things, but the other things you really don't need it. Like I said, those are like more for overall directions. We're not swing traders. We want to get to options, which is really our goal. That's why I said that hopefully we get to where we want to get. We just want to trade the options part of it. And it makes it a lot easier for everybody as well when we get to options. But right now, we're just focused on this for now. The options will come eventually. All right. So any questions? I'm kind of burned up and the game's on. Guys, where you at? Left me alone. There's a whole bunch of people in here. Anybody? You can ask me anything. Anything. Does it work? How does it work? Ross. Yeah. Now I know that script, right, Ross? It's all right. I ain't even. It's literally something else I was looking into. Huh? All right, guys. So trade risk is coding Google. Yeah, I know. Michelle, it's good to have you back, Michelle. I haven't been in the chat that much. I am now in the chat. I will be in the chat 6 a.m. to like 2, doing what I do. And then we're gonna have an automated system, Dobbs says that I'll just keep throwing in price targets, which will be automated into Discord. And then you get alerts and stuff. We're going possibly into options. So options will be the next big thing to do. But for now, we're doing this and we're gonna set up the same way and we're gonna do it again and again and again and everybody's gonna get good at it. Everybody's gonna get good at this. It isn't that hard. I really don't trade Asia, but I have traded a couple of times and it's literally the market to really trade in. And the reason I say is that there's a 10-point line in Asia that literally you could literally take a trade into Asia with a mini. Nah, let me not say that. But anyway, let me sign off. I don't know if Dobbs has anything else. Ricky. Oh, B's in here? That's what B is. Okay. iPad girl. See, Dobbs left me alone. Oh, he's recording. All right, let me sign off because then this is going to be a long edit for Dobbs. All right, guys. Dobbs, you still there or no? Let me text him. He said he had to step out. I want him to stop this recording at least.
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, Dobbs, I think we covered just about everything.
All right.
I had just seen the text that he sent. My phone was in. I didn't have my phone on there. You should stop recording it so you don't have to edit that much. Oh, the market open too. Hey,
Yeah, we're recording it, so I'll get it uploaded later.
Oh, there it goes right there. Look, pull back. Ah, man, I wish I didn't mess with this thing. So. See what the dollar here. Are you here? Are you up there?
doing something. Fucking soda. She's killing.
I wasn't ever really doing it. I was losing interest.
Yeah.
Oh,
Think the treadmill will help or no? For everybody, treadmills just got clothes under.
yeah.
High price clothes under. You never use them?
First week or two.
I mean, people trying to go outside. I think it's good to get the air from the outside.
I like going to park.
That's good. First.